Hello, I'm Julia Fisher. Welcome to The Olive Tree, the programme that brings you the stories of what God is doing in Israel in these days, through the stories of believers who live there, Jews and Arabs. My guest today is Zacharia Arne. Along with his widowed mother and other siblings, he came to Israel from Ethiopia when he was just 13 years old. His grandfather was a rabbi, and for Zacharia it was his ambition to follow in his footsteps, and he spent 3 years studying in a yeshiva for young Orthodox Jews. However, that wasn't to be, because today he is the pastor of a Messianic congregation in Haifa, as well as working full-time for the municipality, helping people with addiction to drugs and alcohol. I was keen to find out how his life changed from being a religious Orthodox Jew, and started by asking him about his time at university.
I studied special education for my first degree, and when Yeshua met my life, he changed my mind, because I didn't have a plan to go to the academic school in that time. But the moment Yeshua changed my life, he changed also my mind and my thinking. So I came to Haifa for my first degree, and here also I met my wife in the university, because there was a group and they asked me why you are different, and I just started to share about Yeshua, and that way she also came to Yeshua and we met each other.
She wasn't very well, was she? You were telling me the story of how you helped her.
Yeah, well, in that time when I met her, she had a kind of sickness, strong headache that every week she needed to go to the hospital, and she told me, if your Messiah, your Yeshua is real, I want to check him through my health. And I believe in that time, because if he changed my life, he can change everything. So I told her we can pray. And we start to pray. She fell down, and completely from that moment she was healed. That's the way she came to, the Jewish want to see a sign. So we are still Jewish, we want to sign, and the Lord is faithful to see the signs and the wonders. And he is our God. So she accepted Yeshua, and after 3 years, I think, we got married.
And is she from Ethiopia as well?
Yeah, she's from Ethiopia.
Did you know many other believers from Ethiopia at that time, or did you feel quite on your own?
No, in that time, maybe 10 or 15 that I knew. But now, at this time, we have more than 1,000. So for us, it's a breakthrough.
You finished your degree and you started work. Just describe the work that you're doing today.
Yeah. Well, we have challenging with the younger generation here with alcohol and drug. So I started to write a project for them. And it was kind of, a mission for me. And we have many Ethiopians with that also involving in Haifa. So for me, it was a kind of opportunity to meet them, and with this project, even to show my life for them, to talk about my life before Yeshua and after Yeshua. So we see how things change. It takes time, it's a process, but we see a kind of fruit with that project also.
The problem for Ethiopians in Israel may be one that people aren't familiar with, but the young people here do struggle, don't they? They feel victimized in many ways.
Yeah, well, we have a big challenge with the new generation, because one is I would say now, 40% of Ethiopian here, 40% of them born in Israel. So they know just Israel. They think Israel. But we have a different color, unfortunately. Well, I don't want to say unfortunately, but we have a different color. And to live in this kind of life of racism and a prejudice, and as a younger who born in Israel, and they don't know nothing except without Israel, so they don't understand it, how they faced racism, and 11 young Ethiopian killed by the police, and there is no reason for that. There was not any reason. And the last one, Solomon Taka, who was killed in Haifa, I knew him very close, and I know his family. And he was one of the young people. He just think about his future and to go to the army and finished his life with 1 second by shooting. So you can imagine what kind of feeling they will have, all the new generation. So they are fighting for their life. And there was 2 days demonstration in Israel 2 months ago, and it was very hard. It was so hard, but it comes from many, hard things that their heart already burned because of anger and everything. So it's very tough. That's why we, as a believers, we pray for that, because I believe we need the hand of God in this kind of problems.
So let's talk about your work and how you became the pastor of this congregation, because you're working full time and you've got 4 children. You've got a busy life as it is. But then you felt God calling you to start this congregation. So how did that happen?
Well, as I told you, the first day when Yeshua met my life, I already knew that it's a special thing in my life. But with the time, there was people who understand that there is a calling in my life. They told me, God called you for a special thing. So we prayed a lot. And in 2008, there was some pastor told me, you have to ordain as a pastor and to start a congregation. And there were some pastors, some of them came from the state, some of them from Israel. So that was my ordination as a pastor. But from that time, we see the fruit. We see people come to faith, and our congregation grow every time. And we have young people, we have old people in the congregation. We have about 100 in the congregation. But we have also many that they know about Yeshua. We already told them about Yeshua, but they're afraid to come to the congregation because of their families. One of the tough things as Ethiopian believers is our community. So they are so ultra-Orthodox Jew, they are fanatic, and it's very hard for us to deal with the Ethiopian. It's just by His grace, because we had many times that the rabbis, Ethiopian rabbis, declared that any Ethiopian Jews who believe in Yeshua, you can't kill them. And they say we are not under the law of the government, we are in the law of in the law of God. So they say every people who believe in Yeshua, they can do everything. So it's very challenging to us as the Ethiopian. In general, it's easy, but to be Ethiopian believing in Yeshua is very tough.
Is your congregation purely for Ethiopians? Is it in Amharic, your own language, or not?
No. My vision is, as a person who grew in Israel and speak Hebrew very well, we want to destroy all this thing of discrimination, and the gospel is not colored. Me and you accept Yeshua as one Father. So my vision is to see this place, with different colors, and our languages we mainly use for the younger Hebrew, and also use Amharic. Because we have people who just speak Amharic, so we use sometimes translation, but mainly we want to use the Hebrew language and worshiping in Hebrew and everything, so it's open for all the people.
So you have Ethiopian Jews, you have Jews from Russia, you have Israelis who were born here. Do you have Arabs in your congregation as well?
We have some Arabs, and I will tell you, we have a ministry that we help for the needy families. And we have about 20 families. And from these 20, all of them are not believing in Yeshua, but they already heard about Yeshua. And 15 of these families are Arabs. Some of them are Muslims, some of them are Christian, and some are Jewish. But so we want to impact all the community. So Arabs, Jewish, Russian, every people, because Yeshua is the good news for all of us. So we are open for the people with the love of God.
How have you managed to grow so quickly? Because to have grown from just a handful of people to the numbers you are now, with the difficulties that you have faced, is quite something.
There is 2 things. One is we try to show our love to the community, and we talk about Yeshua. Why? From where our love is coming is not because we are good, but because God loves us and He gave us Yeshua. And the second thing is we have a evangelism group that they go outside 2 days a week and sharing the gospel with Haifa area. The third thing is that the Lord show His faithfulness with wonders and miracles. So people get healed, people delivered from some demonic spirit, and I think one of the special thing of evangelism work for us is the things that we see in prayer time. People healed from many things, from many diseases, and and they go and share with their family because their family they already know what they had with their health and they're completely healed. So they came to see what's going on and they also get healed. So it's kind of people telling about their life and people come to Yeshua. That's the way.
Tell me a little bit about the young people you have in your congregation.
Well, we have special young people in our congregation. Some of them, they were in a higher position in the army, and they have a vision for this nation, for the younger generation. And of course, for us as Ethiopian, we have another mission is to really destroy this kind of racism spirit and discrimination spirit. And we can make it as children of God by His power. So they have fire in their life, and they want to show God's love for the people. And we have a meeting every week, 2 days a week, all the young people, and enjoying together, worshiping God together. So it's very special.
You've been listening to Zacharia Arne sharing his story. The Olive Tree Reconciliation Fund is a Christian charity based in the UK that supports the needs of both Jewish believers and Arab or Palestinian Christians living in Israel and the wider Middle East. If you'd like to know more about our work through our bi-monthly newsletter, including news about our upcoming tours, please either visit our website www.olivetreefund.org or write to me, Julia Fisher, OTRF, PO Box 402, Billingshurst, RH14 4BQ in the UK. Meanwhile, join me at the same time next week for another story from the Olive Tree. Until then, goodbye.